what up? It's Eric, a.k.a. Peddlin' Rocks, a.k.a. the Flintstones.
Yo, what up? It's Jeff, a.k.a. you ain't from Russia, so bitch, why you Russian, a.k.a. the GOP.
It's Russ.
Yes, your third favorite podcast to waste time with It's The Real. Russ, what's happening?
Living the dream. This is great. This got very intense right here.
Having like a very like basic conversation about Logic versus
Right.
Garage.
Yeah, we
And
were
all
talking
of a
just
sudden,
audio.
chaos.
Yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations on your new project.
Thank you.
As we were just mentioning, we've had a bunch of your friends, collaborators, people you know up here recently.
Yeah.
Most recently, we had Jonathan Mannion, who's a longtime
Yes.
friend of ours, who told us that you hit him up and you were like, yo, I don't care what the label says.
Yeah.
I don't care like what obstacles we have.
Yeah.
I want to make this collaboration happen.
Yeah.
What meant so much to you about what Jonathan Mannion brings to cover art, whatever it is,
Yeah.
to get him on board to fly out to the Swiss Alps to work together?
I mean, for starters, his work is amazing. So, like, regardless of who you are, if I don't think your work is great, then it doesn't matter. But his work is amazing. And then he's just iconic. Like, I just wanted to be part of a Jonathan Mannion thing. Like, I wanted to be part of that. I remember going to Swiss Beats house, and he's showing me, like, pictures that he has hung up that are Jonathan Mannion photos. And I'm like, man, like, the DMX one and all these Jay-Z covers. It's like, yo, I got to get, like, something. So I was like, yo, let's just fly to the Swiss Alps and be maniacs.
Had you met him before?
In the club, and we were both drunk. And, like, it was the most random thing because, like, I didn't know if he knew who I was, and it was just like a drunk running into each other in a club in Atlanta. Like, yeah, you know how it's like, oh, yeah, we should work.
Oh.
But I was dead serious. I was like,
Yeah.
nah, we really should.
Yo, I don't know about you, but anytime we're out in a club or in a studio, by the way, too, and the music's blasting, I can never have a real like conversation
At
on a
all.
phone or in person. So
Yeah.
I just like break out the notes app and I'm like type something out and like hand it to the person, you know? Like that's how I do
That's
it.
a good move.
But you and John connected like that.
Yeah.
And what's the time difference between that first meeting and heading out to the Alps?
3 weeks?
That's it?
That's it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because that was in November, and we were in the Alps in December, so.
Oh.
Did you guys like travel together over there?
Yeah.
Did you guys talk on the plane?
No, because
Okay.
they were they on the same flight? Yeah, they were on the same flight, but yeah, just different like seating.
So then you get out there. Had you been to the Swiss Alps before?
No, but I've been to Switzerland a bunch of times, but never
Okay.
the Alps.
Yeah.
And I was trying to find, like, we were going to go to the Dolomites, like in Italy, the mountains in Italy, but I was just trying to find mountains with snow. That's what I knew I wanted.
You can find that here.
Yeah, I could have.
You
We
can
could have
literally
just
find
gone
that
to
anywhere.
Colorado.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Vermont.
I was like, nah, we gotta just do the Swiss Alps just
Well,
because.
How much of that is about like the story behind it and like posts leading up
I'm
to
just
it?
also like nuts. Like I like doing
I got
things.
that part.
Yeah. Like if I'm gonna do something, I'm trying to go all the way. Like I'm just really OD like that. So I'm like, yeah, because at first we're like, oh, we could just go to like Jackson Hole, Wyoming, or like, you know, Canada. But I was like, yeah, but that's not nearly as cool of a sentence to be like, we went to the Swiss Alps.
So is it exactly how you envisioned it?
It was better. It was
That's
way better.
That's what you want.
Yeah, it was better, and it was just like I said, I just think it's amazing to have that memory.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we flew to the Swiss Alps to do a photo shoot
With
It
Jonathan
felt so
Mannion.
much more than a photo shoot, though. Like that was the thing. Working with him, it was just so much more about like creating a vision and the whole thing. It was just amazing.
Well,
He's
what
fire.
what were you looking to project or portray in that still image?
You know what I wanted? Because a lot of my photo shoots are kind of not directed by me, but they're in a photo studio, you know? So you can only do so much in a photo studio. And I kind of told him, because I have so much respect for him and his work, like, yo, you tell me what you want to do. You send me inspiration, like setups of what you want to do. Like, and he sent me like, oh, I want you in a suit. I want you this. Like, here's a crazy ski mask I got you. Like, he like really orchestrated the whole thing. And I was super down to just follow his lead. So it was dope.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we like to go through a person's full journey. Let's go back to the very, very beginning.
Okay.
Where are you originally from?
I was born in New Jersey, but I was raised in Atlanta.
So what part of New Jersey do you live in?
We moved when I was a baby. So
Oh,
I was
got
just
it. So
born
not
in, like-
even-
Yeah, not even.
Do you think New Jersey claims you?
They have, which I love it. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, my dad was born and raised in New Jersey, and my family's still all in New Jersey. So, like, I would come up here, you know, mad time. So, like, I do have connection to Jersey.
Do you
know?
feel New Jersey?
I think people tell me I am.
Yeah, you sort of like exude New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're really a douchebag.
So if people are like, what exit, are you from? You're like,
No,
I don't know,
no
man.
idea. Nah, but I think, from what I've been told, what New Jersey is, but like my dad, like I said, is born and raised, big Italian family, New Jersey. So
And you guys moved down to Atlanta.
yeah, so we moved around a little bit. We bounced from like North Carolina, and then Kentucky, and then North Carolina again, and then Georgia, Atlanta when I was 12.
What did your dad do?
So at first he was working at a bank, and then the bank dissolved or something happened, and then he went to go work at this advertising agency, which is why we ended up moving to Atlanta. And then that didn't work out, so then he started his own thing, which didn't work out. But luckily the music, that was right when my music started to actually be making money. So then my music kind of like, the ship was sinking. I have an old song called Titanic because the ship was sinking, and then the music perfectly started making money at the right time and kind of saved it. So,
But while that was happening, I mean, like, you're a kid.
right.
How aware were you of your family's, like, any troubles?
Not that, and I'll give a lot of credit to them. It was way more fucked up than they let on, They did a really good job at hiding it, but then it got to too bad of a point where they had to ask, hey, so we need money.
Yeah.
Like we're not being able, like we can't pay certain things. And that's when it got like real, like when your dad's asking you for gas money. It's like, Jesus, like, oh, so it's bad,
But while you're in those, not before it gets to really bad.
Yeah.
While you're in those years, it's like, no, this is just like how we live.
Right.
Yeah, you don't even know.
No, you don't. You don't at all. And then then the bomb gets dropped and you're like, oh shit, okay.
Or do you come from a big family?
No, so it's just me, my older brother, and my little sister.
You're the middle child.
Yes.
Right on. How much older is your older brother?
A year.
Oh, right on.
And then my sister's 5 years younger.
So are you and your brother very close?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. He's my personal trainer and nutritionist, which you can't tell by my lack of discipline for my physique. But yeah, he is.
So growing up, moving around a bit, was it tough to like move to a new school?
It was really hard because I would make these friendships that, especially North Carolina. I was in North Carolina for a while. I was like 9 years type of shit. And
that's a significant amount.
Yeah.
So
so like
the
I had
formative.
best friends. And I remember crying when we had to move.
Yeah.
And we moved to Kentucky for like a year, which was just a really bizarre, like when I look back at it, it's like, what the fuck were we doing in Kentucky? Like, it's really bizarre.
Do you forget the fact that you had lived in, like, it's just such a blip that you're just like, what was that?
Kentucky for me feels like 2 days.
Wow.
I have like 2 memories.
I mean, honestly, 1 year is a short amount of time.
Yeah, no, it really is. And like a whole bunch of weird shit happened in Kentucky that like I look back at, like my dad's kids from his previous marriage. Like one of them was living with us for like apparently 8 months. But if you asked me, I thought she came by to visit for 3 seconds. But she was like apparently living with us. But I was so young, I was in 2nd grade or 1st grade. But then we moved back to North Carolina, which was like a roller coaster because I got to go like back to my friends.
Yeah.
And then we had to move again. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is insane. So then
wait, are you still in touch with your father's other kids?
Not really. No, it's a bit.
That's a whole thing?
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Gotcha.
So then we moved to Atlanta, and I was like, man, this is insane. I remember moving to Atlanta when I was 12, and like for the first couple of weeks, you're still just like talking to your friends in North Carolina. You're not even trying to like acclimate.
Right.
But then after a while, you're like, nah, this isn't gonna work.
Is your brother old enough, older than you?
Yeah.
To have a big influence on your music, your style?
No, because we were always just really close. He was only a year older, He was born in 91, I'm 92. So it wasn't like a 10-year older brother.
Sure.
We were figuring things out together kind of as we went. And he's also like much more introverted than I am and keeps to himself. Like you would not think that I'm able to do.
What were you into at that age then?
Sports and hip hop and music, but like I was just playing guitar and that whole thing and just trying to make beats. I wasn't even thinking about rapping. Although it's weird, like I had a weird kind of journey to end up here because when I was like 9 or 7 or something like that, I was writing raps in a notebook because like G Unit and 50 Cent was huge.
Yeah.
And then I kind of went away from that and came back to when I was 14 when I started making beats, and then I started rapping for real at 19. So it was like all a little like fucking full circle situation.
So 50 G Unit,
yes.
Everything is hidden.
Yes.
Is that in your like universe because of MTV?
Yeah, I remember seeing the In the Club video when like 50
Yeah.
comes hanging down from which was so epic. And I remember watching the Cleaning Out My Closet video, and yeah, those were like, there was always music in my house because my parents would like put on, the Bee Gees and Luther Vandross and Mamas and Papas and like classic rock, ABBA, Kansas, and just like dance around. There was always music in the house, and for me, 50 and Eminem were surprisingly a natural segue because it was always really heavy melody.
Yeah. So they were listening to it too, or just you?
My dad is a huge Eminem fan.
Wow.
Huge. My mom is not. My mom like never really crossed over.
Well, Eminem does have issues with his his mom.
She would always be like, he sounds so angry.
So so if you're getting all those influences, musically from your parents
Yeah.
and your environment and whatever's going on,
Right.
what are you drawn to? If it's, you said you left, the 50 and the M camp
Yeah.
and all that, what would you get drawn into?
Then it was like Kanye was the next thing, and it was probably Wayne before Kanye. Yeah, Lil Wayne, Kanye. I didn't even get onto like Jay-Z till 18 because it was too advanced. Like the content was too advanced for me.
And also you were moving further south.
Yeah.
And so like you're probably getting drawn into like
Right.
all of that.
And I remember like in high school, so I graduated in 2010, right? So like high school was the time. Those years of 06 to 2010 is when Wayne was going crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So being in high school when Lil Wayne was just dropping all these mixtapes and all these songs was nuts.
Well, how did you get that music?
Dat Piff.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Dat Piff, and I'm sure we were stealing stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, you were
LimeWire.
stealing stuff on Dat Piff.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so sad.
So
I apologize.
So did you
Wiz
stay?
Khalifa too.
Yeah, shouts
Wiz
to KP
Khalifa.
and everybody over at Dat Piff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Wiz Khalifa, Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
What did you get from all these guys?
At the time, it was just enjoyment. I wasn't even thinking of rapping. Like I was just listening to them. But then I started making beats when I was 14. So
But
my
even
freshman year.
even beyond that, you're somebody who later on would go to
Yeah.
produce content and more content and more
Yeah.
content, and that did really start with Wayne.
Yeah, that's what I did. Like once I started to do my own thing, I went back and learned like, man, Lil Wayne's work ethic was nuts.
Yeah.
And I always remember like we had a cutout of a magazine where he said like he dropped 77 songs in 2007 or something like that. Like I just remember being like, this is insane. If you do this, you will blow up. So I remember really modeling a lot of it, of the approach that I had after like Wayne's onslaught of music.
Did your friends understand your musical ambition?
Yeah, my best friend Boogus, who's sitting over here, it was like really me and him who just masterminded this whole thing. The studio was in his mom's basement, and we had cutouts of every rapper in there in the magazines, and yeah, we were just going hard.
Like cutouts meaning they were just like on the wall or?
Yeah, well, not like cutouts of them. I mean, like taking a magazine, ripping out this picture, and posting it on the wall, and posters, and like of every rapper, artist we didn't even like necessarily listen to. Just we wanted to be surrounded by the rap game, in our studio. So,
Because who are you but a high school
17-year-old
junior?
kid, yeah.
So what exactly is in that studio?
Two speakers, a computer, and a mic and an interface. That was it.
And you're making beats off of?
My laptop, the keyboard, the home row keys. I still do that.
Yeah?
Yeah, on Logic. Everything is on Logic.
Because that's what you're used to?
That's what I'm used to. I
Yeah.
started on GarageBand, so like the natural, even looking at this,
Yeah,
that's why I
yeah.
was like, it looks like Logic.
Yeah.
The natural next step was to move to Logic, and so I just stayed there. I think comfortability is just kind of what it's all about. There's no one program better or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah.
Were there other kids who were doing production in your high school?
No, looking back now, there was one other kid who I was like really close with at the time who was using Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
And making beats. And that's also what really helped me start making beats, was that I had a friend who lived in my neighborhood who I was really close to, also making beats, also super musical. So we used to make these terrible beats and just think that they were amazing. And like go down to the neighborhood park and like parade them around like they were like Kanye West beats. And
Yeah. Did you sit in your car and just turn the volume all the way up?
yes,
Yeah.
I thought they were the greatest beats.
Like, who
in the
is this
world.
guy?
I know, yeah.
Like, this is the hardest shit ever. Y'all don't know anything.
Well, who were you modeling your stuff after?
It was really Dre influenced. Dr. Dre and like Storch are why I started making beats musically. So all of it was very like
Piano
Piano
driven.
piano
driven,
and
yeah.
strings.
Yeah.
But like my skill level of that at 14.
Where'd
so
you
it
get
was
your
trash.
Where'd you get your drums from?
Deconstructed.
My drums, at first I was using the stock drums because they were terrible. But then I would just be on the internet downloading drum kits.
Yeah.
Like downloading the Scott Storch drum kit, which probably was not a Scott Storch drum kit. This is before Splice, like so nothing was official. It just they called it Scott Storch drum kit. So like if I pull up my old laptop, like you'll see I have the Pharrell drum kit, the One, the Alchemist, the Dre, like everyone's unofficial drum kit. I was downloading drums for like 10 years. It was insane.
So you're recording, you're producing, you're doing all that stuff in that basement.
Yeah.
Did you go out and perform?
Yeah, we would do. So I wasn't even rapping yet. I was really just producing for Boogus. So yeah, we would go do like Boogus would do, these open mic type of things, or we would go to colleges around and perform at colleges and Clemson, Ole Miss, or we would be in the basement of a frat house in UGA way too many times, just performing for a bunch of drunk kids that don't care what's going on.
Don't know your music.
Don't know the music, like, don't care, but we're performing like it's the Rose Bowl. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, like, so intense, but it was awesome.
Were those Scott Storch drums hitting?
Yeah, they were fire. At that time, they were hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, where was your actual first show?
My first show as, like, Russ, the headline artist, was Tumwater, Washington, right? Or was it Kennesaw, technically?
How'd you get out there?
Yeah, I wouldn't even really count that. But shout out to Kennesaw. I went to Kennesaw State for like 2 weeks.
Right.
And I performed there for like 4 kids. But I don't really. But so Tumwater, Washington.
Yeah. Have you
was
seen any of those 4 kids ever since?
one of the kids, I think actually a couple of them are such diehard fans. It was like he had the tattoo already, like, and he's still a huge fan. His name's Nick Everett. And like we refer to like certain diehard fans as just, oh yeah, that's another Nick Everett. Like he's like
that's awesome.
Yeah, he's an archetype. Yeah, like he's become like he's become like the one. Yeah,
right. Like, are you Nick Everett though?
But so we've had shows.
But yeah, Tumwater was the first show.
We've had shows where it's sold out, and it's like, all right, 600 people max could have been there, right? We know the ticket sales, all that stuff.
Yeah,
and it's still like thousands of people who were like, oh, I was at that show that you guys did. It was just like, it's like Woodstock, it's just like everybody was there, right?
Well, you know what I find funny is like I'll do a show for like back in the day where it's 300 kids sold out, and like fans hit me up like, man, I remember when you came in there was 10 people. I'm like, bro, there was not 10, it was sold out.
There were 4 people
it was
and all
11.
of them were Nick Everett.
So did you ever consider another rap name rather than your real name?
When I was producing, I was DJ Ripley because it was like
Believe it or not.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, you were 14. It's fine. Yeah.
I was like 17.
Did
so
you?
it's not as great.
Yeah, then forget it.
Did your parents fuck with the music?
They really encouraged it.
Yeah?
My dad's a huge music head. So
That's
is my
awesome.
mom. So yeah, they were really supportive of it. They just didn't want us cursing.
Yeah. Did you? How long did you abide by that?
The not cursing thing?
Yeah.
We never abided by that.
Well, yeah.
So
Would you just like edit it for your parents like live? Just like turn it down like whenever you curse?
No, they didn't really care that much. They just wanted it. Like my dad had a conversation with me and Boogus one time at a dinner, and was like, you have to romance the audience. Like my dad is he's a lot. He just he knows everything. If you according to him.
Yeah.
But
he's from New Jersey. Yeah.
He was like, you have to romance. Like you don't want to just just get right to fucking. You gotta like. Ease it in or whatever. I don't know. It was like a weird conversation, but
I feel like I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, it's like the birds and the beats.
Yeah, but he was like talking about you don't want to just you guys come out the gate just saying fuck this shit, and he's like, if you look at a salad bowl, you don't want to just call it a salad bowl every time. Maybe you want to call it something else or get creative. I don't know. He
Right,
still
you don't
attributes
wanna-
he attributes all of my metaphors and success of my lyricism to that conversation.
Oh, sure.
If
sure.
you ask him, he's like, it all changed when
Well,
I had that conversation.
for
You
the
don't want to
record-
say fuck the police. You want to make love to the police.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
don't- yeah,
By the
something
way,
like that.
shout out to your dad who
He's
really
awesome.
set everything off for you.
Yeah,
so.
I get like it's funny. I get my charisma and like personality from my dad for sure. Like it's so funny how opposite him and my mom are. My mom is very introverted,
Like your brother.
Yeah, like my brother, and I love books too, but they were always really just big readers, and they like staying in the house, and they don't like going out like that. And then my dad is the life of the party, walking around, dancing, talking shit, making jokes. So I have introverted aspects of me. Sometimes I want to just stay in and whatever, but yeah, like my mom can never be on a stage.
Yeah.
She'd like crumble,
Well, did you ever like feel nervous going out on stage?
I
or
used to
like
be
doing...
really, really nervous. I had really bad stage fright when the shows were not our fans. When we would just like.
When you were the opener for.
Yeah, and I didn't have any songs out. This is when it was just Boogus, and I would be on some song singing a hook or something. So Boogus would be opening for someone, and so none of the people there are to see anyone. And then I'd be just on stage having to like rap my part or whatever. And it was like nerve-wracking because I was like, I didn't have the confidence of my shit yet because number one, I was new to performing. I didn't know what the rules were. And I didn't have my own music out. I didn't have fans. So, yeah, I just used to get super drunk, which I ended up watching back and being like, well, you know what? As scared as I am, this sounds like dog shit. And that's what I care about the most, so I should stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time that people in the crowd hit you with your own lyrics right back?
It was probably...
Nick Everett.
Yeah, it was definitely Nick Everett's situation. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Do those Atlanta shows count as my first shows? But that wasn't my show. That was like Diamond, all the shows. Yeah. So the first time was probably these weird little like Atlanta showcases we would do. We would go like book out the Masquerade in Atlanta, like scrounge together $500 or $1,000, get people to help us throw in money and do shows. And like that was cool. There'd be 10 people there, but they all knew the words, which was like that was cool. But the first like proper show where there was like 200 kids that all knew the words was in Belgium, actually, 2014.
Wow.
So bizarre.
Belgium?
Yeah, how'd you get out there?
Antwerp, Belgium. So the craziest thing with this is when I was on Facebook, like regular Facebook, and a kid, this kid named Saba had sent me a message. He was this artist from Belgium, and he was just like, I love your stuff. I'm an artist too. And this is like, I had a Facebook. Like there was no Instagram, like Twitter.
This is your personal Facebook.
Personal Facebook. Like, and he just sent me a message and he was an artist and I listened to his song. I have no idea what he's saying because he's rapping in Flemish. I was just like, this sounds awesome though. So yeah, let's do a song. And I did a song with him. He's from Antwerp and it went huge for like, as far as scaling wise, it went huge, but it was 200 kids. But that was the inception of my Belgium fan base. So then his manager set up a show for me out there, and it was really dope. It was sold out. It was my first time ever leaving the country, first show out of the country, and it was sold out. Like,
did you get on that flight being like, what?
I didn't know.
This?
Yeah, I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and I definitely didn't assume it was going to be sold out.
You went with some other people though, right?
Yeah, me, Boogus, and a couple of us.
Yeah. Because imagine you go over there by yourself, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, it was culture shock and just sensory overload because I'd never left the country before. And then the fact, like, we pull up to the venue, and I'm like, is anyone coming? Like, and I remember asking the promoter. There's still a video of it on my Instagram of me asking the promoter, like, is it sold out? And he's like, yep, first time in Belgium, sold out, da-da-da-da. And it was crazy as shit.
Man.
Those 300 kids or 250 felt like 2,000.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I want to talk about the first time you were on MTV, which was through Rob Markman.
Yes.
But... and that was on the
Rap Get in the Game.
Yeah. So, but that was a Boogus thing, right?
So, yeah, the first time was Boogus was on Get in the Game, and we were talking to Trina and Sway. Or no, it was just Trina and Rob Markman. Or was it Trina and Sway? Trina and Sway. And then the second time was just Rob Markman and Juicy J, I believe.
Wow.
On my Rap Fix, yeah.
So first of all, like, how does, like, I'm assuming that you reached out to every single blog. I'm assuming, like, you seem like that type of kid.
Boogus harassed Rob Markman on Twitter about 2K. Beating him in 2K.
Really?
That's literally how we got the connection.
And this might be a better question for Boogus, but, like, what was Boogus saying to Rob Markman about 2K?
What were you? You were just saying you could beat him and he's trash. Pretty much. Yeah.
By the way, fact.
Yeah. Just repeatedly, and then he was like, "Oh, I do music, whatever." And then Rob checked out the music and fucked with it, and that's how Boogus got on the Get in the Game segment.
But you were like also there.
I was also there, yeah, because I produced the song that was on, and at that time I was producing everything Boogus was doing, so it was a very we're hanging out all the time, so yeah, we did the Get in the Game segment together.
But what I noticed about that clip was that, like, yes, Boogus had a presence, but, like, that you definitely, like, the camera was there and you...
Yeah, I was annoying.
Yeah.
I remember telling Trina that she looks good, and I couldn't see Trina because I was just, like, nervous, babbling about something stupid. It's like, shut up, bro. You can't see me. I know you don't know if I look good or not.
But, tell me about coming from behind the scenes.
Yeah, the transition.
Yeah.
I attribute that to Boogus as well. It was one night in the studio in Boogus's house, and I remember I was just doing like a hook or something, which I would like not frequently do, but there was times I would just do a hook or a verse or whatever. And I remember turning around to Boogus. I was in the like booth, which was really just underneath the staircase. And I was like, yo, should I start rapping? And Boogus instantly was just like, hell yeah, do that shit. And that was it. That was like
that was the conversation.
That was it. That was the turn.
Okay.
And I instantly started doing it. That was 2011.
At the end of high school.
Yeah.
And okay, we know that you went on to go to college for a couple weeks.
Yeah, well, it's a semester and a half.
But
yeah, we all know that like timing it doesn't work with you.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, like Kentucky was 2 days, but it was actually 8 months.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
Who knows?
So you were there for a short amount of time.
Sure.
What were you looking to get out of college when you graduated high school?
I think I was just doing college because it was I was going through the motions. It was just what you do.
Yeah.
You know? Like, the first time I saw the school I went to was on move-in day. Like, I didn't give a shit.
You just applied and
Yeah.
got
Did you apply
in.
to anywhere else?
Yeah, I applied to the school Georgia State, which is in Atlanta, which I actually really wanted to go to. But I wanted to be, like, in the music program. And they said you can't audition if you don't know how to read music, which I didn't and I don't. So I was like, all right, well, fuck. And I probably, like, not that I should have still gone there, but my like one of my good friends at the time was going to Valdosta State. And I was just like,
where's that?
Like South Georgia, like damn near Florida. And I was just like, whatever. Like, I can get in there because it was a way easier school to get into. So I was like, fuck it. So I got in there and just we roomed together, and that was that.
So you didn't have like necessarily like a game plan?
No, I didn't. I was just at that time. We had just put out Boogis's first like project, the Boogus demo, that I produced the whole thing on. And we were like, you know, I was passing it around at school. I was just like focused on producing.
Yeah.
That's it. But also in that dorm room is when I started to fuck around with my own songs. I didn't have a mic. I would just use the mic on the laptop.
Man.
And just sit there and make the worst songs. Oh my God, bro. I have a playlist on my computer that's just like 10 dorm room songs that are the worst songs and worst recordings.
How often do you go back and listen to them?
I usually never, but I went back very recently. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is so bad, but you couldn't even tell me that back then. Like, I thought they were so great. And it's like, it's weird to have that confidence.
But do you see the, like...
I saw the potential. Like, my vocal delivery was trash. My voice sounded stupid. But the melodies I was doing and the songwriting was there. Like, you could tell I knew how to write a song.
Yeah.
My execution was just terrible.
Yeah.
But, like, I definitely could write a song. I had an understanding of melodies and bring this one back for sure.
Man, when I applied to film school at Syracuse, right?
Uh-huh.
And when I got in, you know, it was because of a 30-minute movie that I had made or whatever.
Fire.
Yeah, but like it's like you look back at it, it's just like, well, it wasn't that good, but you do see the seeds. But I'm always impressed by the people who can see the little thing and imagine what it can turn into.
Yeah, that's like that delusional level of self-belief and confidence is really what propelled me forward, because when I look, like I always tell this to myself, and I put it in my book too, like if that 17-year-old kid with those songs came up to the 27-year-old me now and was like, yo, what do you think? I would be like, in my head, I'd be like, there's no way this is going to work. Like, you're so bad. Like, I don't see this working for you at all. But then I say that the 17-year-old me would have never even asked the 27-year-old because he thought he was the shit.
So maybe the key is for that 17-year-old to just bug the fuck out of you about 2K on Twitter.
No, you know what? The key is that the 17-year-old me was perfectly in the right headspace because I didn't need or want the 27-year-old me's opinion. Because if I would have been looking for that and I would have told myself, no, it's whack, then maybe I would have stopped.
Right.
Because if you're already looking for like validation, it means that you could probably be swayed one way or another.
But you were looking for validation.
I was, but I think I was more so looking for my own validation first. Like,
right.
As long as I thought it was hard, I was like, cool.
When you're hitting up like, the Two Dope Boys and wherever else.
Yes.
Like
so I was looking for, for sure. I was looking for media validation of really just promoting it. I just wanted visibility, but I wasn't looking for like, I'd have writers hit me back that said, no, I don't like the hi-hats or something. Like, I thought all of them were insanely wrong.
Yeah.
I was like, no, like, this is not what, we're not discussing if my music is good or not. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it was not, you know what I'm saying? That wasn't even like what I was just like posted.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about the music.
But it's funny, when we speak to kids at different like levels of school, like it could be college, it could be high school, we've talked to fifth graders about this. It's about changing like your perception of what success is as well.
Yes,
because at that age, you're like, well, if I get on a blog, that's what's meaningful.
Oh my God. When we got on Two Dope Boys, we went nuts.
Right. But if you look back at it now, you're like, oh, I didn't need that validation.
Right.
You're like, I just needed to be sure of myself.
100%.
And there is that thing too with, and we talk about this a lot, like Steve Jobs didn't go out and like beta test his things. He wasn't like, oh, well, what do you guys want? It was, you guys need an iPod.
Right.
And I'm going to create that.
That's kind of like, if you go back, funny enough, when I was going back and listening to those dorm room songs, I was finding like all these old emails that I would send to all these writers, and the subject lines were insane.
Yeah.
Like what?
They were just like,
open this up or I'll kill you.
like the future is inside, don't fuck up.
Yeah,
like
oh my
just
God.
insane.
I would delete that so quick.
Yeah, just like insane shit where I'm like, obviously they didn't open this, bro. Like, you sound like an asshole. Like, what are you doing? But it's like, it was that same kind of thing where I felt like it was such a guarantee that I had good enough music. Then like, y'all are just all sleeping, y'all are all wrong. I mean, a lot of it, I guess I was right, because they ended up coming around. But yeah, my approach was rough.
Do you ever, back then, did you ever question like what was taking so long or any of that? Like, was it?
Yeah.
But
one
like
of the corny dorm room songs is called "Way Too Long." Mm-hmm. And it was literally saying, this is taking way too long.
Yeah.
And I remember listening back to that one like a week or 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, this kid had no fucking clue. Like, you thought it was taking way too long?
Yeah.
In 2010?
Right? Yeah.
Like, I didn't get any sort of anything till like end of 2015, 2016. And I think that if that kid would have known that it was going to take 5 or 6 more years, I don't know.
Right.
If he would have kept going.
Oh my God.
I kept going because I thought it was tomorrow.
Yeah.
I thought any day now, Kanye's gonna call me.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not even how it works.
But I'm talking about questioning like the things that you're doing as opposed to the process itself.
No, I always had this crazy. That's the thing. I had this insane delusional confidence in myself that everything I was doing was right. Mm-hmm. My songs were right. My verses were perfect. Every word I picked was perfect. The beat, the everything, the approach. I was an asshole. Like, I still have the qualities, but it's like I had an explanation for everything I was doing.
Yeah.
I could justify everything. This is why I sent that subject line. This is why I hit you up on Twitter like this. I did it. You know, I thought everything I was doing was right.
Did you have any way to make income outside of your music at that point?
I was working at Off-Broadway Shoe Warehouse. I worked as a busboy at a couple different places.
But were you the best busboy?
No. No. But see, like, I didn't even take pride in that.
Yeah, right.
So I didn't give a shit.
So you
because you were like, this is all temporary. Like, I'm going to make it doing this thing.
Right. Like, I was just doing that to just like appease my parents and put some money in my pocket.
Yeah. And also in their pockets.
Yeah. Well, no. At that time they were good.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time they were good. It was not really until I was about 22, around 22, that it got fucked up. But it was fucked up for like a year or two until I found out.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you ever have that point around that age where your friends are, I don't know, getting like a job where they got to dress up and they got to go in and work a 9 to 5 or whatever, and are you like, man, they don't see the work that I put in, they don't hear what I'm doing and see the seeds of potential, and like, do I have to acclimate and fall into line?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what happened was I cut off everyone. Like, once I left school, which was top of 2011, so like it was my second semester of freshman year. It was just me and Boogus in his basement, and like I just cut off everyone just because I knew so wholeheartedly what I wanted to do, and I was so focused on it and so driven that like if you were not part of that, then I'm not talking to you, I'm not hanging out with you. Like, deleted my Facebook. Like, I didn't even give a fuck what anyone else was doing. I really didn't. I was in
the chip on your shoulder was so big.
And I had to prove to myself that I was doing the right thing. So I was really locked in, like really lasered in on just going to Boogus's every day, making songs every day. I was just locked in.
What's crazy is I have so many questions for Boogus right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really like, you know, important part of my journey is that we did this together.
And together till today as well. He's on the new album.
100%.
Love that.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's like Boogus put me on to the books that really shaped my whole like mental artillery.
Which were?
The Magic Ladder to Success, which is Napoleon Hill, and 7 Spiritual Laws, Deepak Chopra.
So self-help books.
Yeah, but that Napoleon Hill book really, like, and I'm sure Boogus would agree, really like changed our lives at 17, 18. And we're the type of people who, once we believe it, we really, really believe it, and we really apply it. And like, I'm sold, I'm bought in. And so we were living by that book. That was like a Bible for us. So, yeah.
So you create albums or mixtapes or projects, right?
Yeah.
What was it about them that tied everything together? Or was it just really your 10 best songs?
That's really what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really just, and it's still to this day, I still just call my album titles based off of the time period. I don't really.
You're just like Adele.
Is that Adele?
Well, Adele,
exactly.
That's so easy too. That's such a great, what a good idea.
Yeah.
But then she stopped doing it.
Well,
did she? What was her last album called?
Her
25?
age, and then now she's like doing. She said she's gonna come off of that.
Oh, really?
Percent needs to drop an album called 30 or 30 or whatever she is.
Yeah. Do you remember when 808s and Heartbreak came out? It was like, what the fuck like happened? No, but it was like we had this whole pattern here, like know, everything was going in order.
Yeah. So that was amazing though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even to this day, mine are always just time periods. I don't really do the like concept albums in the sense of like I'm trying to tell y'all a story. Like the story I'm trying to tell is really just I'm trying to just make real life music about my life and hope that it, you're probably going through it too, and hope that works. I'm sure at some point I'll stop talking about myself, but until then I'll be soft.
I mean, it's an interview.
Yeah. No, No, while we're here, I'm definitely gonna talk about myself.
I was like, we can talk about Adele for another hour, but like, I don't know.
So down.
Yeah. Well, what's the point where you're just like, this is more than just me putting in the work. I'm a professional now. Is it the Belgium trip or is it something before that?
I don't even know if I feel like that now. I don't know. I feel like I've been 17 for 10 years, which is probably a bad thing. I probably need therapy. It's like a suspended adolescence because I've just been living such a like fantasy make-believe life. I hardly did societal normal things. The most normal thing I did was just go to college.
Right.
But then once I was done with that, I was living a very irregular life.
Well, also, I mean, like when you're so driven, then you don't really have hobbies outside of that.
That like my hobby was music.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask that.
Yeah.
You own a home.
Yeah.
You have, a record contract.
Yeah, no, on paper it seems
there are professional
very, like,
adult stuff.
Weird. Yeah, but
it doesn't feel like that.
No, because I just
you're not like that's my pool.
No, like I try to
that's my staircase.
That's the thing is like when I walk around my house, sometimes I try to say that out loud to make it like hit more, and it might hit for like I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Look at my pool, but I'm like, okay. I think what it is too is that I have all the same people around me,
right?
So it never felt like. Man, I remember back then kicking it with that. Like 10 years ago, I was hanging out with the people in this room.
Yeah, but then that shows the growth together.
Yeah,
I think that's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
When and this is like skipping far ahead, and we'll come back. But like when Joe Budden came over.
Yeah.
How did you show him around your house?
I just took him on a tour of I didn't show him my bedroom.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, it's not the cribs. Like, this is where the magic happens.
Yeah. But, like, no, I walked. My pool wasn't done yet. My backyard wasn't done yet. But
Eric, listen to this guy talking about his pool.
I know, yeah. No. So much pool talk.
I know. I wish it was done because it's really great. but I just showed him, like, the basement and, the studio. I have a salt cave, like a movie theater. I don't know.
That's dope.
Around. Yeah. No, it's really sick. It's really sick, but it also just feels like, I don't know. I think because I'm so not used to it that it sometimes feels like a hotel, like you're staying there.
Does this mean that there's another level to what adulthood means that you feel you haven't hit yet?
I feel like I haven't, and I feel like it's starting to happen this year. Like I've just started like forgiving myself for past things and past approaches, and I'm starting to like try and. You realize like when you get older and you start noticing certain qualities in yourself that were in your parents that you didn't like about your parents.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, I'm doing the same shit. And so I'm starting to like self-reflect like that, like my short temper and, my quick to just shit on people and snap and fucking be abrasive. Like that's all my dad. My dad gave me all great qualities too, but, certain things like, I don't know, I've just been doing a lot of self-reflecting. So I don't know what's next, but I don't know. I definitely feel like it's something.
So, like last night when we went to your listening, you opened it up by saying that you were in a really good space.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Because you're now in this self-reflective sort of zone? And
it's the self-forgiveness thing. It's like I forgive myself for getting into a bad space. I forgive myself for I just forgive myself. So, I'm in a great place.
And not to, delve too much into it because I think you're in a different place than you were, but, when you were saying a lot of things that got a lot of headlines.
Yeah.
Would you ruminate on that? Like when the reaction would come in, and it would be like a very negative thing. Would you be like, oh man, I should have approached that in a different way, or was it just like, no, like I believe what I said?
Yeah, no, I always believed what I said. I didn't like how people would twist the things and like misinterpret. I'm like, man, y'all don't, like, that's not what I meant, you know. But that's the thing. I forgive myself and I forgive others for, like, you know, maybe I could have said things differently or whatever. I get it, you know, but it is what it is. I think that at the end of the day, if you, like, in 10 years, when you look back at all the crazy things I've said or whatever, it's like, you know, he was on the right side of the fence probably. Like, he probably said it in a harsh way, but, you know, if you look at the meat of the message, it's kind of spot on, I think.
What is the point where you felt like things were really going very well, and before you got signed?
Yeah.
Where you're just like, man, like, yeah, this, I can feel the momentum.
It was the end of 2015 going into 2016, because that's when my TuneCore went from, like, I watched it go from $600 in June of 2015 in that month to like $1,200 the next month, 2004, and then December it made $8K or $4K or something, and then January 2016 it was $16K, and then the next month it was $40K, and it's $75.
What do you attribute that to?
Christ.
Yeah,
it was the onslaught of music. So what it was is I had this huge catalog out, but nothing had popped off yet, but a huge catalog. So once I had like Losing Control and What They Want pop off, those songs basically put everyone else onto the catalog.
Yeah.
So everything started making money. So that was it. It was just the snowball. You as an artist, you need songs to put the world onto the rest of your catalog.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yo, how blessed are you to be in this time where streaming is there and people can just like go down the page and find your catalog
instead of having to go to Coconuts or Sam Goody or whatever and be like,
but like legitimately you could have a song from like 3 years ago, 4 years ago that someone is like, oh, I fuck with that and I can sync this to a song and that could just rock it up the charts, and 100%. You're like, oh, I didn't even think that was the one.
No,
I mean, like you look at Lizzo, right? Like
that's
Lizzo's,
a perfect example.
Or even like LMA.
That's Losing Control too, because Losing Control came out 2015 and didn't get a plaque until 2017. Like 2017 is when it got taken to radio.
Yeah.
And shit like that. So it's nuts. Streaming is beautiful. I think what's gonna end up happening, they're gonna keep changing the rates.
Yeah.
And I know it's not gonna be retroactive, so I'm just gonna get pissed. Like, okay, well, can you cut me a check for all this streaming? But,
Are you ever surprised when people are just like, yo, I really fuck with that song, and you're like,
yeah, it's funny. Like as an artist, sometimes you almost get insulted when people are like, yo, my favorite song, and they'll name like my first mixtape ever at 19. I'm like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
But you're also like, you're amazing.
Yeah.
But also like that person's going through something now.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
really,
like later they might like identify with other stuff that you
100%.
put out. You know.
Yeah, I think music is like, as far as enjoying it, it's very reflective. Like your favorite song is very reflective of where you're at. You know, like my favorite Drake album is largely due to where I was when I was listening to it. Same with like my favorite J. Cole album is The Warm Up, but that's because I was. Not only do I think it's musically the best, but I was 17.
Yeah.
I was just starting to like really try and figure out what I wanted to do, and you know, it just came at a perfect time. You know,
it also works for like SNL casts.
Yeah.
Your favorite SNL cast is like when you were 13 or 15 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Everything I say is interesting. Like, it's
I've
wild.
noticed.
Yeah.
We have that in common.
Yeah. Start talking about your pool, Jeff.
Yeah.
Now.
What is?
It's very small and dirty.
Not saying this new album.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Russ album or project?
Not saying this new one. There's Really a Wolf.
Why?
Because it was just like all of the best songs on my computer on one album. It was a playlist, you know. It wasn't like there was no story. There was really no story or cohesiveness. It was just like put the hardest songs on your computer on the album. And that was cool. Like, I'm glad, like, I wanted to do that for the first album and prove that I could do everything myself and be successful and get a plaque and all the, you know, whatever. But now moving forward, it's like, nah, I'm really focused on trying to make the best album. If that means I got to go work with this guy and da-da-da-da, I'm down.
Yeah. So Columbia Records comes into your life how?
So 2016, the songs like Losing Control and What They Want specifically start going nuts.
Where were they going nuts?
If in my opinion, What They Want started going nuts because it was getting posted in the background of all these sports highlights on Instagram. That's why I kept seeing it. I kept noticing, like, this is insane. What They Want went crazy first before Losing Control. And then I put out the video, and the video did really well on YouTube. And then I put like shortly after I put out the video for What They Want, I put out the video for Losing Control, and then that started to go crazy. So then,
but wait, what's crazy for you at that time? Because like at a certain point, it was like 200 views means a lot to you.
Yeah, I think 1 million views.
That's a little bit more than 200.
Yeah, it was like it's like, oh shit, this is nuts.
Yeah,
and at that time, I was doing like South by Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
And like different industry people are starting to call. Like that's when around the time I met my manager. And then he's
shouts to Milan. Yep.
And he's introducing me to Kara Lewis.
Yep.
And then
Did you know anything about Kara, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I made him get me Kara Lewis.
Well, what did you know about Kara before?
I just knew she was the GOAT.
See, that's cool too. That's the same thing with like John, right? Where it's just like, no, I want to work with the best people, so let me go for this legend and this legend and this legend, and
100%. So then I got with Kara, and then she got me with my international booking agent. So the first tour I ever actually went on was in 2016, like April, May, called the Manifest Tour, and it was a Europe tour. And so that was cool because I had never like toured before, and the first one was international.
You're like, I've been to Belgium. It's old hat. It's like, yeah.
Belgium was the biggest show on that tour by like a landslide.
Because you had that, that audience there.
Yeah,
I
shouts to
remember,
Nick Everett.
Yeah, right. So I remember the Belgium show on that tour. Colombia's people flew out.
Wow.
To see it, and then the London show on that tour, RCA's people flew out to see it. So I was like,
wait,
okay,
they flew they flew all the way over there
to come see the show.
And did you know that?
Yeah.
Did you put on a better show because of it?
I don't remember. I hope I did.
Did you feel like more was on the line because they were there?
I'm trying to remember my headspace. I think I was just gassed that I was doing shows. I was like, I don't really give a fuck who y'all are.
Okay, so
because I was actually very anti-label.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm gonna say because like you're making all that TuneCore money.
Yeah, so I kind of
you don't have to pay anybody,
right? So I was very anti-label. I didn't really give a fuck what they were talking about. I remember getting phone calls from labels in Colombia when I was up in New York doing stuff, and I was like on the phone, like not listening at all because I was just like, I don't have any interest in fucking with the label.
Yeah. Also, how old were you?
23.
Yeah.
Prime, not giving a fuck time.
Prime asshole. Yeah. Perfect right amount of everything. Yeah. So that was happening, and then I started looking around at like the rap game and like people I looked up to, and I was like, man, especially the radio. I was like, everyone on the radio is with a label. It's like I think I have to level the playing field.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing. Like I was the
label. Well, why did radio matter to you?
Because I felt like, especially at that time too, like Apple Music wasn't even, I think it had just come out. It wasn't a thing. Spotify playlisting wasn't even a thing. So radio still really moved the needle, and it still does. But like, I just, in my head, the perception of it, of like, oh, you're on the radio, that's what makes it real, you know? And so I just wanted to make sure that what every other artist had, I had too. I had the machine behind me and whatever. So, after, I got back from that tour, then I did like a 6-city U.S. tour in the summertime.
Did Columbia come to that?
Yeah, they were at the Billings, Montana show.
Wow.
The very first show.
So weird.
I know, yeah.
My fan base is very scattered.
Yeah,
and they're down to go in.
No, but they're all Columbia execs, and they all go to, like weird cities.
Yeah, it is bizarre when you think about it. Yeah, so.
Like they could just go to New York.
Maybe they'd be like, well, New York is so easy, because people are going to come out. Maybe they're like, who's going to go to Billings, Montana?
Were they we didn't do a New York show on that run, do we? That's crazy.
I went to your New York show. I mean, Sarah Mary Cunningham brought me to
So you were already signed.
Yeah, you were already signed.
At like Webster Hall?
No, I don't remember where it was. It was like
the like double decker.
No, because it was like low ceiling. I don't remember.
So maybe
it's Webster Hall.
It had to be Webster downstairs.
Downstairs,
like the Marlin Room or something. Yeah. But I remember like I didn't know any of your music.
Yeah.
But I was just like, wow, like what a devoted fan base.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like still it's one of those things that, especially now with the hate, it makes them want to be so much more like, well, fuck y'all for real then. We really love them, But yeah, so like June or July of 2016, it's on my Instagram somewhere, but when I partnered with Columbia.
Were you afraid of what a partnership with a big building would mean? That it would change anything that you built on your own?
Because
was that something that you, like, as soon as it happened, you told people, or did you, like, keep it on the low for a little while?
As soon as it happened. I posted the video that day.
Oh, yeah. You were definitely looking for that, except, like, that validation of just,
because that was a real thing to me. That, helped make it real.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got a deal.
Yeah.
And I was proud of it. It was a fucking multi-million-dollar deal. Like, I became a millionaire. Like, you know.
And not to mention, aside from the money, but like you are on the level of your heroes now.
Yeah, right.
I'm one of you. We're in this exclusive club.
I'm in the label with, you know, Beyonce's here and Adele and Bob Dylan and Pharrell. So, you know, it was sick.
Did that change you at all?
No, it didn't change the music. It didn't really.
No, I mean like you. Like, did that, like,
probably
getting that thing that you wanted?
Yeah.
And like you've now reached this thing.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it must have. It had to. I'm just trying to think now. How did it?
Were you afraid of, like, you know, putting that first project out?
No, I was really excited. Because I felt like, okay, finally now it's time to like really do the real thing, which is the album. The whole me putting out a song every week was a means to an end. It was like, I'm doing this so that I can put out an album.
Yeah, so I don't have to do this anymore.
Right. So I was like, I was excited to get to that point. And then I knew musically nothing was going to change because the conversations that I had with all the labels, like, y'all are walking into an already fully functioning thing. Like, I have a booking agent. I'm already doing shows.
You have a Boogus.
Right. Y'all don't. Yeah. And a huge element also, like, in fucking April of 2016 or March, Kylie Jenner was posting.
Yeah, she had your song in the background.
Yeah, Losing Control, and she posted Pull the Trigger. And
who was the friend or person who was just like, yo,
at that time,
tune in?
At that time, I didn't know. I was as shocked as everyone else was. I was like,
no, I'm saying who told you? Who was like, who hit you?
Me?
Yeah. Like, yo, check Kylie's shit.
I think the fans were tagging me. I was getting tagged in my Instagram.
You're like, what is this?
I'm like, there's no way. Like, and at that time, it was Snapchat. Like, she was showing love on Snapchat, which I put in a song.
but that's crazy.
Yeah, and that was like, you know, they used to do. I remember Genius did like a article back then on like songs she A&R'd.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Like Location by Khalid was one of them that she posted around the same time as Losing Control. So that made a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, we do live in that age now where like LeBron's like social media can launch someone,
especially when you're really small. Because like Kylie was playing Nighttime the other week, which is still fucking insane. I'm still gonna get geeked over because it's fire. You're Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
But
have you met her yet?
No, but it doesn't. I don't think it moves the needle as much as it did when I was smaller because you're going from such anonymity to like the biggest person in the world posting you. So it really like you could really almost feel an overnight thing, kind of.
Oh, skipping ahead again.
Yeah.
When Rihanna put you on social media.
Yeah, that you felt the needle move. Yeah, that was fucked. That was insane.
Had you met her?
No, still haven't. Never talked to her.
And so.
Same thing. That was fans tagging me. I was getting a manicure with my mom.
Wait, so you? Well, I guess someone holds your phone or something. Yeah. But you look at it.
Yeah, I was getting this hand done.
Yeah, and you look at it. You like, yo, mom. Like,
I saw someone left a comment and they spelled like her name wrong, and it was just like Rihanna like this, and I was like, do they mean Rihanna? I'm like, there's no way. And so I go to Rihanna's profile and see that she's following me now, and I was like. What? It's like,
how do you not drop it into that, like,
I only had the snippet out. So then I go through my likes and I'm like, oh, she liked the snippet. And so then the song came out that night and then she instantly posted her video. And I was like, this is fucking insane. Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, I was screaming in my house for a good 30 minutes straight. I sent all of my friends like voice memos of just.
So you do still get like excited about everything?
What?
Yeah.
Wait. Well, that's Rihanna.
What do you?
Well, I mean, yeah, but
what do you hit her?
I still get very excited.
What do you hit her with? Like, say thanks?
Yeah, I just was like,
hi,
you're amazing. This is awesome. Thank you.
Did she respond?
No.
Oh, well, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Great. She doesn't have to. She's Rihanna. Yeah.
So, okay.
But she doesn't do that if Bia is not on the song. That's why it's like I'm super grateful for Bia. And I didn't even know that Bia had like a connection with her, like whatever.
Yeah.
I just thought Bia was dope, and we had made that song like 9 months prior. So that's why it's just important to like, you know, it's funny how I do a whole album with no features and whatever. And then the one that goes fucking nuts is
the one with the feature.
Well,
but it makes sense. Collaborating yields the best shit.
It is pretty amazing. I know you got a lot of shit for being like, yo, I record, I write, I produce, I do all this stuff. But if you do take a step back and you're talking about this like 10 years later type of thing, it's like, yeah, that is pretty significant.
It is, yeah, it is impressive.
It is.
It's just that I was saying it earlier today too, and I understand that it's just going to take time, you know? Like, you have to be dope for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, cool, you did it once, bro. Get over it. You know, we don't believe you. It's always like that. If someone has a good rookie season you have to see them be good in their second year and third year and fourth year before you're like, all right, maybe you're actually like really good.
Right.
You sound like a totally different person than I thought you would be.
Yeah, good.
Did somebody like put you in your place in like a weird, in like a different way? Like,
I think I put myself in my place.
Yeah.
I started like watching old interviews and I was like, I'm just like, I need to fucking relax. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was so much of like trying to prove, which like that's part of the forgiveness thing. Like, I forgive myself for going so hard trying to prove and like overcompensate. Like, no, I am good enough and I'm selling 2,000 tickets. What the fuck are y'all doing? And did it like I get it because my spot wasn't solidified in my head. Like I wasn't super secure with where I was at in the game, in the realm of the thing, because you just got on. Like you just blew up. You don't know if you're gonna really be here. Of course, I had all the confidence in the world, but deep down, it was clearly still like, but do you believe you're gonna be here? Because why are you acting like this?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you
do
condense your story and you say like, all right, well, they doubted and they doubted and they doubted, and it's just like I didn't do this in time and I felt this pressure to get something done. It's like, yeah, you would react in a certain way.
Yeah, and I was just, and you know, a lot of it too came from like I thought what I was doing was really impressive, and I thought that it wasn't getting talked about enough.
Right.
So then, what do you do to combat that? I'll talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what
Which
I mean?
I think is something that we do a lot.
Oh my God.
Like, you know,
We're self-made. We're 12 years into a career where we've done everything ourselves.
It's amazing.
We've had certain people, you know, managers or agents or whatever, but they didn't do shit for us, so it fell on our shoulders. And it's like, you do
big up yourself.
amazing things. Okay, so I asked this yesterday on Twitter. I was just like, yo, put a poll out or whatever. I was like, how do we, you know, in 2020 promote the stuff that we do? Is it to be humble or is it to be loud?
Yeah, I think loud is always great.
Yeah. I'm more of like I like to like hope that other people will like just recognize it, but it's like nobody's gonna recognize it if you are that humble person.
Right.
That's just like,
that's the thing. If you wait around for like them to crown you, you'll miss your moment. Yeah. No one will. So, and that's what it was for me. Like I was already so conditioned like that. Like I had done all these mixtapes and all these songs that no one gave a fuck about, and emailed all these bloggers and writers that no one gave a fuck about. It wasn't hitting me back. So I was already coming into this shit pissed off, like chip on my shoulder, like haha. Fuck you, I told you. So it was a lot of like that energy, which is like cool. But now that I've like been here for a couple years, which is not a long time, but third album's a real thing. And I'm like, okay, I had a crazy conversation with John Mayer, which like anyone who's had the pleasure of talking to him, he's like Yoda. He's like the smartest person ever. And he texts so fast. And it'll be these like insanely huge genius paragraphs that I'm like, do you just have these like
just copy and paste
right? Because how are you writing such profound shit? But he's just a genius. And I told him, like, I asked him, how do you like transition like to like, because I still felt, and I still do at times, but like I had a foot in the life before this and a foot in this life, not like, you know, actual reality, but mentally, like I didn't feel fully here. And he was just, all he said was just, take your coat off. Take your jacket off. It was either jacket
he really is like Yoda.
Yeah.
Like
these
like weird like Buddhist koans.
I still use that. I've been using it all day, and like ever since then, it's just like that's what it took for me. It was okay, take your coat off. Like,
you know what the best thing would be? If he didn't even mean it to be like a deep thing.
He's like, literally, it's hot.
Yeah, it was like an autocorrect.
Yeah. He like meant to send it to somebody else. Right. Take your coat off.
He's like, whoops, I guess it worked for you. Run with it. Yeah. No, but it was really profound, and it helped a lot. And I used to have conversations with him when it was like, when all the like negativity was happening, and I was like, how do you just not respond to it? Like, people are assassinating my character, and he just was like, you know, I think you need to move the goalposts on what you think is assassination of your character. Just like all these really profound things.
Yeah, it would have been amazing if he was also that time, take off your coat, and you're just like, man, this guy's got something for everything.
I know.
The one thing,
he's the best.
But the truth of the matter is, you did start to collaborate with other people, and was that to get out of your comfort zone? Was it to like answer the people who were?
No, I always wanted to, but people don't, like, fans and people on the outside looking in, they just assume that like once you get a certain number of followers, just like call Drake, get him on the song. Yeah. It's like, I don't
DM
know
Rihanna,
anyone.
right?
Yeah. Like even on my first album, I knew nobody. Like nobody knew me. Like I didn't know how to get a hold of Boy Wonder. I didn't know how to get a hold of Scott Storch or even Bia or like anyone. Literally anyone. So that's why the album didn't have any features.
Yeah. So once you do link up with them, what is that experience sitting in a studio with Scott Storch like?
Insane.
Yeah.
Really on the way there, I was super nervous because I wanted to I was worried. At first, I was worried that I was like, man, I hope he plays something that inspires me. Because what if it's the reason why I started making beats. What if I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I'm not feeling anything. And then I was like, I hope I can come up with something that's dope. This is everything right now to me.
Sure.
You don't want to there's times creatively where it just doesn't work. And so I was like, fuck, I'm just praying it's not one of those days. But every time I've been with him, we've always made something insane.
So we're very good friends with the Locks, and they recently worked with Scott as well.
Yeah.
And they said that it was so much conversation ahead of time.
Yeah.
That was the most important construction to whatever they would do, later on that afternoon.
Oh, there was no conversation with me and Scott at first.
It's just him sitting at the keyboard?
Well, we walk in, he comes over, says, what's up? Super nice, super, just everything great. But, we didn't have some crazy, huge conversation. Right. He was just like, he's always like, what do you want to make? And
a song.
I remember the first thing I told him was, the first thing he played me was a song called, that I put out called Maybe. And it was Cry Me a River. That's what I was looking for. And he was like, this is better than that. I was like, fire. And then I remember the second time I saw him, I was like, I want to make some shit like Me, Myself, and I.
Wow.
And then he played Wife You Up, which is now gold. So, he's just a maniac. If you ask him to do anything, he's like, okay, one second. It's just it's so bizarre.
Have you told him that you had Scott Storch drums?
Have I told him that? I'm sure I have. Yeah.
What was your first time meeting Illmind like?
That was last night. Or 2 nights ago? When were we in the studio?
Wait, what?
Yeah, 2 nights ago. I met him for the
You
first
had never
time.
met before?
No. Internet, DMs, texts, beats. That was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, met him 2 nights. He's awesome.
Wait,
Yes.
so previously,
Yeah, he's awesome. We
So
made
previously,
two
when he
classics.
sent you music for this album,
Yeah.
you did not know him in real life,
No.
and he sent you a finished product essentially.
Yeah, he would just send me beat packs.
And you're like, oh, I like this one.
Yeah.
And so then,
We have 20 songs together.
legitimately, the stuff that you did 2 nights ago,
Yeah.
is
Really great. Really great. And I told him, I was like, please do not hold me to this standard because I don't ever crank out 2 really good songs. If I do 2 songs in a night, one of them is maybe not going out, or maybe, I don't know, it's not that great. It's probably great, but
This is so crazy.
Yeah.
You're unlike anything I thought you'd be.
good. Yeah, I could tell. You probably thought I was just gonna come in here.
Well, no,
fucking...
I wanted to have an actual conversation. My thing
Yeah.
was that every conversation that I've seen with you has always been
very abrasive.
Well, it opens up with, why do people hate you? Or
Yeah.
you said this thing and tell me why.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I don't know anything about your personal story.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, let's just have an honest conversation and trace over the arc of your thing, and then that'll get you a humanized thing.
because
Yeah.
what separates us, we like to think, look, you're coming to our apartment,
Yeah.
you're sitting down, we want to know legitimately about your life, and
Yeah.
everybody has an inspirational path and journey, and it
Yeah.
is interesting to hear that. No one has covered that with you. We wanted to hear
No, I
your story.
appreciate it.
And there have been parts of your story that have been so the Joe Budden thing. I watched the first probably 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to trace over the exact thing that he did. But
Yeah.
but for 20 minutes, in that you talk about your relationship with your father and how that all
Sure.
worked. And so I was like, that's fascinating, and I want to
Yeah.
get into all of that.
Cool.
Yeah. So at this point in your life,
Yeah.
do you feel like the music matches up with where your head is at as a human?
I feel like you know how when you get booked for things in advance, and so when you actually end up doing the show, you're worth more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how music is, because the album coming out right now is not the most up-to-date version of me. It would be the songs I made 2 nights ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, musically it's all it's pretty on par. But the album is amazing. The album is in a good space.
We heard it last night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. Rick
Yeah.
Ross,
Yes.
wild,
Yeah. He went crazy too.
rapping in the same cadence as you.
Yeah, he's awesome.
That's amazing.
He's awesome.
Benny the Butcher.
Benny the Butcher.
Yeah.
I mean,
crazy.
how did these reach outs go?
How did we first link with Ross? It was you know what? It was Bel Air. Brett, who owns Bel Air. What's Brett's last name? Brett Barish.
We know of him.
Right,
We
so-
know a couple other people below.
So I did.
We know Rick Ross.
This was
that's true.
This is actually a really cool story. So I did this interview with Brett in Bel Air, and he's like, if you meet him, he's the nicest, greatest human ever. Like, just so like, oh, anything you need, like, just so welcoming and just warm and amazing. And so after the interview, he's like, man, anything you need, just ask. And I'm the type of person, if you tell me that, I'm asking right there for the craziest shit. I was like, I need Rick Ross and Nipsey on a song because he had a good relationship with Nipsey.
Yeah.
And he was like, done. 2 weeks later, I got, not even, like a week later, I got a verse back from Ross. And then, like, you know, we were going with Nipsey, and then Nipsey was on tour, and I talked to Nipsey. He was like, I'm going to get it to you, da-da-da-da. And it just didn't end up working out. But yeah, that was how that happened.
Where do you listen to that Ross verse?
The first one that I got sent was in my mom's house.
Like on speakers or your headphones?
On my phone.
Yeah.
On my phone, and I was just fucking screaming.
Like, because it's you.
Yeah.
Like,
that's I will say that's one of those moments where I felt like a professional rapper.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, this is Rick, and it was over one of my beats.
Yeah.
Like, this new one is over a Boy Wonder beat. So like the first one was over one of my beats. I was like, oh shit. And that beat I had made in a hotel room in Minnesota a year prior, and I had said in the hotel room, I'm gonna get Ross on this. Like, this sounds like a Ross beat. And a year later, I got him on it. So I was like, this is fucked. This is nuts.
Do you put things into the universe for them to happen?
Absolutely.
What else have you put out there that you can talk about that you're like, oh, that's definitely on the way?
I feel like at some point, me and Kanye are gonna make something. I feel like at some point, me and Drake are gonna make something. I'm just like the biggest Drake fan ever.
Was he like one of the cutouts in your?
100%. Yeah.
I make it sound like a voodoo doll sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I did that, so I gave you that layup. Yeah. That's partly due to me.
How did you get Boogus on the project?
I had my people hit his people.
Yeah,
and then,
sure.
And then a year later, finally.
Manifested it. Yeah. Benny the Butcher was a cool one, too, because I've just been a huge fan of him. And, like, you know, I listen to his music and just, I'm sitting there thinking, like, all right, well, there's no way he fucks with me. You know, like, that's what I'm thinking. Just like those worlds probably don't mesh musically. But I was like, fuck it. Let me show love and reach out and just be like, you know, it'd be an honor to work with you. Yeah. And he's like, man, let's run it. I fuck with you. Da-da-da-da. He sent me a verse back ASAP.
The reality of the effectiveness of reaching out or having something good to say and concise and the results is like 100%.
Do you guys get, like, in your world, do you feel like, have you guys had those moments where you're like, man, if I didn't even reach out to this person, I wouldn't even know that they fuck with me? Because, like, I feel like all of us, we sit around and wait for someone to hit us up. That's what I do, because I'm just a dickhead. It's like, you know, like, I don't want to reach out, but I've gotten rid of that. Now I'm the first one to hit you up. Yeah. But there's been so many people that, like, I've reached out to, like T-Minus. Yeah. I reached out the other week and just like, yo, you're fucking amazing. And he's like, man, I'm a big fan. Let's work. And then boom, now me and him have 4 songs. Yeah.
There have been times that I think that we are very proactive in reaching out to people.
Do you guys hit people first?
Yeah.
You want to know what the surprising stuff was?
I was surprised that you hit us up, or like your people hit us up.
Yeah. No, we've been trying to do this.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea either.
Well, it's been like on the radar. We just couldn't, like, timing and
That's
whatever.
dope.
But it's definitely been.
I
appreciate that.
Very glad that it happened.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I was surprised. So, again, long career. We've done a lot of different things, right? We used to do these red carpet interviews for MTV, which were so different. We did the AKAs, we did the gunshots, all that, right? Yeah. And everybody was fucking with us. J. Cole, Rocky, Ross, like everybody. So many times, Miguel, Currency, I mean, on down the list, people would be like, Jadakiss, like everybody would be like, you guys do music too? And we're like, we actually do. And they're like, can we get on that? Because...
You guys do music?
Yeah, we do music. We did a mixtape with DJ Drama. We performed at Bonnaroo. We've done some cool stuff. Yeah.
What the entire fuck just happened?
We had
the whole thing.
We have an album. Oh, Bun B's rap with us, Freeway, Mano, Lil Jon, like the list goes on.
What is happening right now?
We have a song with Currency and Smoke DZA called Sugar High. There's a lot of stuff.
Currency and Smoke DZA used to be my shit.
They still are. Yeah. But it's the fact that, like, people were like, yo, you do something different.
That's crazy.
That I really fuck with, right? And at that point too, we had this.
What do you guys go by?
It's the real.
That's the
That's it.
That's everything.
Yeah.
The podcast is a waste of time with It's the Real. We're It's the Real. We've done sketches, so 3.5 years every Monday, talk about like consistency and quality. And people fucked with us because of that.
Yeah, because we're constantly feeding.
Max B wanted to be in a video, and was in a video.
This is amazing.
Cameron was in a video.
This is so impressive.
Like all these
you.
people.
Yeah.
But anyway, it meant a lot that people were just like proactive on their end, and it's just like, oh, when you get like your Ross verse, when we got our Bun B verse for the first time for a song called "Girls with the Dirty Souths," about those women who keep it au natural, right? By the way, did we shoot the video down in Houston where we were the 3 world's worst landscapers because we salute those women who let the bush grow? Yes. Anyway, it's a great music video. Shot by our friend Rex Arrow, who did all Mac Miller's videos.
Yes, Rex Arrow. Holy shit, I haven't heard that name. I remember seeing his with his logo on the Mac Miller video.
He's the greatest. But for people to respect you and bless you at something, that you sit there and you listen to it, you're just like, but I'm me. Like we're us. Like we grew up 30 minutes north of New York City. Like we never even we listened to Hot 97. Like we grew up with like Big Pimpin', and now we're on a song with Bun, and you can never take that away from us.
100%.
That's the greatest feeling ever.
100%, and that's definitely a Ross moment for sure. And even when the Nipsey thing was so sad. Yeah, because like we were really gonna do that, and it was on a song called "Last Forever," which is just like wild, given all the things. But I remember when Snoop, that like another moment.
That one actually happened.
Yeah.
That was so random because he had posted something on his Instagram where like my song was in the background, but you couldn't tell if he like consciously did that or if he was like putting up a video of him and whatever the fuck music was in the background was whatever was in the background.
Yeah.
But then shortly after that, like a couple hours later, I just get a DM like, "I love your music. Call me," from Snoop Dogg. I'm like,
did you call him?
Yeah. But I'm like, how? Like what? And like I remember the first time I called him, also at my mom's house. The first time
you need to visit your mom more.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
I know. First time I called Snoop Dogg and I hear his voice, it felt fake.
Oh,
because he sounds like Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
because he's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
so
you hung up.
By the way,
really wild.
Yo, when you
like, what do you say to Snoop
when
Dogg?
you were getting your manicure done with your mom and the Rihanna thing, and you're like, is this real? Like, what's going on? When we were hosting. This is Grammys last year. A year ago when it was in New York, whatever.
Okay.
And we were we were hosting a club in Brooklyn, Shemansky's. And we're on the couches, whatever we're doing, whatever hosts have to do, right?
Right.
And someone hit us and was like, yo, the Roots played your shit on Jimmy Fallon. And we're just like,
no.
What? No.
Like, why? Like, there's zero reason for that to happen.
Yeah. And you're like breaking out like headphones in the club, like trying to like, are they really playing our shit? And then they did, and we were like, we got to leave. And so we jumped off the couches. We said sorry to like the people who were running
literally
it.
Exactly what I did. I ran out of the nail salon.
And we ran to the Roots were having their Roots, like, because they took over Gramercy for like a week or whatever and had their jam during Grammy week.
Yeah.
And we ran in there to go be able to say to like Questlove, like, thank you. He was like, oh, well, thanks for writing a song called Waco. And we're like, wonderful.
Because there was a TV show called Waco and they played it for
Waco. For the
walk-on music.
Yeah. Which is wild.
Yeah.
But it's those moments where it's just like.
It makes it feel super real.
Yeah. Or really not real.
Not real. Yeah, all at the same time.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. No,
so you've toured the world.
Mm-hmm.
As someone was saying to us last night at your thing, Russ doesn't get the credit for selling out the buildings he sells out.
Yeah.
That's got to feel very overwhelming and satisfying.
Yeah.
You're in a place now where you're on your 3rd album.
Mm-hmm.
You're how old?
27.
27. Great age.
Yeah.
How satisfied are you?
I'm more satisfied than I was 6 months ago, but I feel like I've always been scared to be content.
Oh, totally.
Because I just feel like it sleeps a little too close to complacency.
Yeah.
Well, is it important to you now for validation to get an award, to get a Grammy, to...
I've always wanted a Grammy. That was just something that I looked up to as a kid, and that my ego has to get that.
Yeah.
And then I'll be okay. And then everything on my checklist is done. That is literally the last thing. Like, all I really wanted was a platinum debut album and like hits and to sell out Staples Center and a Grammy and buy my mom a beach house.
So, okay, done.
Yeah.
So you win a Grammy.
After I get a Grammy and sell out the Garden,
Oh, and I feel like now we're just like adding more things to this thing.
No, because I forgot. I do want to do it. Yeah. But then it's like, then at that point, everything is kind of just, oh, this is great. This is extra. You know? Like if I end up being able to make a song with Kanye, that's crazy. Or like, you know, shit like that would just be.
But it's nothing where you put like a time limit on things and say like, well, I want to retire after I get a Grammy. Because then isn't it like, well, I want another Grammy?
Yeah, well, that's always what my dad used to tell me is like, you know, you don't know how to be content. You're going to have 14 Grammys and be really pissed off you don't have 15, which is most likely true.
Yeah.
So, but let me get the 14 first. You know.
Did you watch the Grammys this year?
No.
Okay. Well, you know, Tyler, the Creator, you know,
Yes.
won for Best Rap Album.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to look at his journey when you're saying, like, I look back at my interviews. I remember also on Rap Fix when all those guys, Odd Future, were in the... And I felt so bad for Rob. I felt so bad because, all they wanted to do was disrupt things,
And they
right?
had Joey on... Remember Joey Badass was the guest
Totally.
on that.
But, like, you know, I'm sure that Tyler looks back at his stuff and he's like, oh, I'm grown. I'm a different person.
Yeah.
You know?
And that was Rob's first
I'm saying, but like to see his career arc is not dissimilar to yours, where it's like, no, I was young at the time.
Yeah.
People grow up.
Now I am a grown up.
It is
Believe
hard.
it or not, cool in the whole thing.
Yeah,
you are
I
an
know.
adult. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. No, but it's you know what it is? It's when you not grow up in front of the world, but like as we're saying, you are still growing up, even if you're 23 in front of the world and now I'm 27. That is still more growing up, but when you do it in front of the world, they try and like keep you prisoner to whatever you said for you. Like, you're not allowed to change your mind. It's like, what?
Right.
It's insane. What if I change my mind though?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, I was looking at I don't remember what I was gonna say.
All right.
Yeah, it's fine. And, you know, we had like such a good conversation, and then just like right now, it's just like, you want to know what? Fuck it.
Absolutely.
It's okay to fuck up. Yeah, it's okay.
You do have this new album.
Yeah.
It comes out. Both by this time it has come out.
Right.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What are you looking for this album to mean to your?
I just want my fans to fuck with it. That's it. Like, and I
think they will.
I
Yeah.
started getting into this game of like competition, which is really easy to do, especially because I'm super competitive. Like, you know, I played basketball all my life in high school. You know, but I learned that like it's really just competing against myself. Like as far as the numbers go, as long as this album does more streams than Zoo, then I won because I beat myself.
Yeah.
Everything else is what the fuck ever
Well,
as far as numbers go.
Okay. What if it doesn't?
If it doesn't, then it's also kind of just like, but do y'all like it?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I think that it's you know, it's whatever.
It's just, it's all kind of
Like,
whatever. But it's like,
you know,
I wanted to get away from trying to be like, but what did you do your first week?
Yeah, no, like,
You know?
like we had a conversation with Ari Lennox on
She's so
here.
amazing.
She's the best.
She is the best.
She's so good.
And-
it's not the credit she deserves.
But we were talking about how she didn't like how certain projects of hers hadn't hit with certain audiences or something. And I was like, there's
Right.
no, like, these days,
Yeah.
there's no difference between good or bad. It's just,
Yeah.
has it found its audience yet or not? And I say yet because, like, you know.
You never know. It could take
Like-
a year for it to find it.
Exactly. And we were
Yeah.
already talking about that with, like, the Lizzo stuff, with your stuff. Like, things can take 2 years, 3 years to
Yeah.
catch on. And
Yeah.
so, like, I hope that you have your pride in your work, and that's all that matters. Like, it's not the
Yeah.
numbers. It's not. And by the way, I'm usually not the Gary Vee of this sort of dynamic, but I guess,
Right.
like, right now I am.
Yeah.
So-
But the numbers do matter to me because I've just always been a number person. I'm glad that they don't matter so much in the space of comparing it to someone else's numbers.
Yeah.
But like I am competing against myself, but like at the end of the day, you're 100% right. Like first and foremost, I'm proud of the music. You know, I think fuck everything else. This is like me at my best musically. That's my opinion. Like
Yeah.
I feel like the growth not talent-wise, skill-wise. The growth skill-wise between my first album and second album is not that crazy. It's like I'm pretty much just about the same. This one is the one where I really creatively like went here
But
for me.
if you look back, if you pull back
Yeah.
and you look at, because there's been lots of ups and downs, but if
Yeah.
you look back, you started down here
Yeah.
and you're way up here.
No, it's
and
crazy. Yeah.
that is what should be important.
It is for sure. No, when I went back and listened to those terrible dorm room songs, I'm like, I can't believe. And then I instantly like played my newest song I had made. I was like, holy fuck! It's like I didn't see this coming at all. Like,
Yeah,
you
I don't
know?
have type drums anymore. I have actual drums.
Like, holy shit! It was like I used to make beats like one finger like on the piano is just doing 3 notes. It's so bad. And like, yo, this is so hard. Like, delusional. But I needed that delusion. Everyone needs that delusion.
100,000%.
It's hard though, because certain things are not for everyone. So it's hard to tell people be delusional, because a lot of times it's like okay, stop being delusional because this is not for you.
Right.
Know? But
for sure. Well, listen, Russ, I'm thrilled that you came up here.
Thank you for having me.
It was an awesome experience.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Congratulations on the new album. Congratulations on everything that's going on. And we really appreciate you taking off your coat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was great. That was
Help me ease this pain.